Hi everybody, welcome to Northwood Farms Vlog, entry number 151.
On Valentine's Day, February 14th.
2016, and I almost said 2015, and I swear I don't do that on purpose. I don't know what happens when the camera goes on.
I'm Haley.
And I'm Emma.
And this is Vientos.
And Easy, photo
and
bombing
Easy back
there.
in the background.
These are our challenge horses.
Yes.
And we're halfway through the challenge. Haley was telling me. So, we've had a great time. People have done awesome. And why are you down here?
I came down to play ponies this weekend and be freezing cold yesterday and all the wind that we had.
Oh, that was crazy. A bunch of us were riding in the outdoor, and we were so excited because it was a beautiful sunny day in the morning.
And no rain.
And not raining, so we were all in the outdoor. And then the wind. We were so cold and not dressed for it. Yeah. It was the coldest I've been the whole winter. Yeah. Anyway, so we thought we would tell the story of Vientos because we kind of have big news.
Yes.
That's been under wraps for a little bit to a bunch of you guys. So Vientos is a Lusitano by Quartetto de Top, who was bred at Carpe Diem Farms in Troy, Oregon. And look it up if you haven't read that story. But our friend Chesna rescued him. We think 2011, something like that. And she got him restarted and sold him to a friend of ours. And then a couple years later, he ended up back in Oregon. So he went to Utah. He ended up back in Oregon. And I just fell in love with him because he's so, I don't even know.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah, he's so fun.
Guy.
And really, really interesting. And just like a dog.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. And so he was gifted to me, which was amazing. And so he's been with me for the last 3 years. And I think that he's one of the top horses that I've learned stuff from, like kind of key elements. But he's a bit of a puzzle. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And I've kind of chipped away at some of the kind of the deeper things with him, and essentially got to the place where I kind of thought, okay, now I think I have the plan, but it was going to take some serious man hours. Yes. And by the time I figured it out, right now I have this string of horses going that I'm really feeling fulfilled by, and I was really struggling to get the time in to really get through some of these
spots.
Yeah, they're like, it's like there was going to be an end to what was possible for him. I think in general, really, yeah, in that amount of time. So
I have a lovely horse that's taught me so much, but he recently came up a little bit lame, so I couldn't really figure that out. And a couple of matchmaking, endeavors by Emma. She's like, well, what about Vientos? So I can only have one horse, at my boarding place at the moment. So he would totally be my one and only, the only horse that I'm dedicated to. And so if he needs the man hours, might as well bring him over. And he, like we were saying, is very much a puzzle and is not as simple as any of the quarter horses that I've ever worked with before. So it really causes you to dig deep because he can look okay. You can go.
He's so obedient. Yeah. He's so obedient. But this line of horses they're bullfighting horses. You guys have seen the Merlin video, and this horse is so fancy. It's amazing how fancy he is. But because he's so obedient, it's easy to miss that he's not really turned loose. But it's almost like, and Michael and I have talked a lot about these sort of like scarring in a way, that horses that get stuff done without getting to some of these deeper things, they can end up covering over the deeper issues. Yeah. And this horse is so clever. He's so clever, and he's trying really hard, but it has been just amazing to try to figure out how do you get through to the horse. It's not as simple. I would say this. It is not as simple as getting to the feet. No. Because the horse can do everything. Right. He will just, easy. These guys have been pasture mates. And they're like, we're friends. you can get to the feet and still not have, and he's doing it, but like he can do so many things and have 1,000 brain cells left over. Yeah. So I was like, oh, Haley, you can only have one horse in town. Great. I have just the project for you. And he really needed some serious roping.
And I kind of have a thing for ropes. So
finally, let's put this ridiculous obsession to use. But also, you're interested in dressage horses.
Yes, and he is pretty darn fancy compared to the other horses I've had. So that was really exciting, and it's such a cool. Emma was saying such a cool hybrid of both cultures with the cow work and the rope work, as well as the fancy dressage movements. So. He's a perfect little mix.
It is. It's really a perfect match, and we were just going to keep him forever and just be like, well, I'll get to him when I get to him, and he's just such a pleasure to be around that it'll be fine, But I wasn't going to be able to put enough time in that he will be dragging cows around, which I suspect is what Haley and V will get to. So officially, Haley is now Vientos' horse. Yay. And we have Mary Lou's blessing for that, which is really special, and we thank her very much for that whole deal.
You.
And to Chesna for finding him originally. And we know that Vientos has a lot of fans. And so he's not going out into the universe. He's staying in the family. And it'll be so exciting. So I haven't seen you for, 6 weeks or something? Mm-hmm. Yep, 6 weeks. And so you've had him for 6 weeks, in fact. And the changes are really, really fun. Really fun to see. So maybe you'll make that one picture public and people can find it.
Yes, I will.
So, anyway, that's the long and the short. What am I missing? Oh, say really quickly what you have discovered over the last 6 weeks. Tell the story about the rope, just really fast. This is going to be long, but for those of you who want to hear the rest of the story, tell the roping. Yeah.
Well, we all talk about gaining our horses good with ropes, and that's like, yeah, of course you're supposed to do that, because one day they might run into a rope or a fence or all these other things, right? So I'm doing the stuff, the red book that we talk about, and it was pretty explosive. It was nothing like I've ever seen. The first time I got a rope around his hind leg and tightened it up, he was just, if there were any snakes in the vicinity, they would have been dead about 10 times over because he was so vehemently just not okay about that kind of stuff. So we put hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. Most of our rides spent more hours roping him than we did actually riding. And he's come so far. Yeah. He's doing so good, even just having ropes dragging behind him. So it's really cool to get to see that progress, but also a wonderful reality check to go, it could be this bad. They could feel this way.
That's a great point. And you could rope his flanks, and once you got the ropes around his legs, if you didn't, there were things, because he would tolerate it until he, like you were saying earlier today, until he couldn't tolerate it.
And then it is no good.
Then someone's gonna die. And I didn't want it to be me or you, really. But that's the thing that this horse needed was some of the information that we basically just have now, and then also someone that's gonna really have the time and desire to put into him, and then he can reach his full potential, which is pretty special, huh, buddy?
And I know Emma secretly would love to see him roping cows.
I would, actually. It's true. I would, because it's such a massive representation. You were dragging a barrel today, or at least getting a start on it. It's a huge representation of work. Yes. And as we have talked about so many times, horsemanship, true horsemanship, takes work. So it'll be fun. And he will love it. And he was born to do it.
Right.
So then you'll be bullfighting and piaffe and passage and flying changes.
In one hand.
And then just don't forget she got the horse from me. Right. All right, guys. Well, yay to all the challengers. Halfway through, you guys. Keep on. Don't worry if you're behind. Kip's really behind. Yes. And a comeback story is always fun.
Yes.
So we hope you guys have a good week going forward. And we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.